Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Southeast Europe Championship Finals between Different Dimension and Instinct Esports. Both these teams have made their way through this qualifier in stylish form. They're going to be competing today in this best-of-3 finals to make their way into the Southeast European Championship. We're going to pick some bands. It's going to be Rise and Lucian banned out so far. I'm of course joined by the beautiful Benvarmeren. What do you make of these bands?
Well, we saw Sir Divalot play a really good Rise last game. He got a lot of resources, and to be fair, he played against a very slow lane, but when he got all of those resources, he was able to deal so much damage, and he ended up taking over the game more or less. So it's a smart ban for Different Dimension, and we have to keep in mind that Instinct Esports, they played against Different Dimensions yesterday, and they won 2-0 over Different Dimensions yesterday.
Yeah, they did, winning the National Greek Championship. And both these Greek teams here to be prideful of, I guess, being Greek and to be proving that they are the best Greek team here. Only one of these teams can progress into the Southeast Championship. And have to see if it's Different Dimension or Instinctive Esports. Oriana and Azir banned out, as well as the Rise. Lucian, Corky and Nidley now banned out by the side of Instinctive Esports, and they're looking to pick up that Caitlyn first picked. And I did a bit of a cheeky watch of the semi-final match between Distinctive Esports and their competitor, and Miracono on that Caitlyn. When can he play a Caitlyn?
That would be a very interesting pickup as the first champs. Okay, so it is going to be a Caitlyn. No,
that's
actually,
a Gragas.
Okay, so Gragas is going to be locked in instead, and that is a flex pick. So we now either wait to see if it's a top laner or a jungler, but either way, it's going to be very strong.
Oh, and wow, look at this. That is so troll by Instinctive. Not only do they take away the Caitlyn pick from the side of Different Dimension, but look who made it through the picks and bans. Echo has made his way through, and now Sir Divalot gonna insta-lock that one and goes, thank you very much, I will have it. What you gonna do, Different Dimensions? They're in a bit of a sticky position because Echo on patch 6.7 is OP.
Exactly. Echo is so strong, and he builds a tank. He builds tanky items, and he still deals so much damage. So you don't want to give up Echo. And I like what Different Dimension do instead. They pick up the Maokai. They force a tank to go up against Echo, making sure that despite Echo going tanky, his opponent will have the sustain necessary to not be forced out, to be choked out already from the get-go of the game.
Well, you say that, Benvarmeren, but Maokai is one of the worst people you can chuck up into a lane against Echo. It's literally a counter pick lane for Maokai. Back before Echo became strong, playing Echo into Maokai was favorable, and now Echo is even stronger than it used to be, so it's going to be an extremely hard lane for Tarrant's going to have to play that one perfectly if he wants to stand a chance against this Echo. It doesn't mean that Maokai can't win it. Of course, if Maokai gets ahead early, maybe some jungle persons from LLNG will help him along, but it is an extremely hard lane, and so yeah, it's a good pick in team fights, but in lane it might be punished. Interesting pickups coming now out of Instinctive Esports. Most likely going to be some placeholder picks, the Teemo and the Nunu, but I will get confirmation from one of the members of Distinctive Esports. But this Ezreal now picked up by Distinctive Esports, Different Dimension. Wow, keep getting their name wrong. And Ezreal, such a good champion in the meta.
Yeah, he's not the best AD carry, but he's definitely not bad either. And with Ezreal being logged in, you are focusing a lot on these late games, because you have the frontliners on the side of Different Dimension. Then you have Ezreal, who will get a Mana Moon at one point in the game once he has stacked up his tiers, and that is the point where he will be a late game carry, and he's going to be going for the Iceborne Gauntlet as well. So really a lot of protection going over to focusing on Ezreal, making sure that he's going to be surviving all the time. And in the lane against Caitlyn, he's just going to be there to farm, and the problem with that is that you now have two lanes that will get dominated, because yes, you said that Echo will be stronger than Maokai, and I never said that Echo won't be stronger than Maokai. I just said that Maokai will be able to sustain that lane, which is sure to happen. So two lanes that will get bullied. I'm not quite sure if Heimerdinger is a placeholder or not.
Well, it's a placeholder for Lysandra.
Okay, so that makes more
Teemo's
sense.
also a placeholder for Brom as well, but that is a Nunu jungle.
Okay, so it makes really good sense to go for Lysandra, because that means that you will have a strong lane where you actually can do something. You're not going to be giving up completely on all the pressure that you could come out with. And Brom against Ezreal, that is also going to be such a strong lane and so favorable for Caitlyn.
Absolutely. So we're going to see a Maokai in the top lane against an Echo, going to be a Nunu up against the Gragas, Lysandra up against LeBlanc, Lucian, was it Lucian? No, Caitlyn up against the AD carry pick. I can't remember what the AD carry pick was for different dimension, and then a Janna versus the Brom.
So there is a saying that when you pick Nunu, you just want to make the opposite jungler just as useless as you are. So we definitely have to look forward to seeing if Nunu is going to be doing that. But I actually really like that Nunu pickup. Obviously he's not the best jungler that you could go for. I can't remember the picks, the bans that were in the lobby before. But
a lot of jungle bans.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not
Ezreal.
a bad pickup, and it actually empowers Echo and Caitlyn really well. And you have that focus on Caitlyn being your late game carry, so why not go for something that empowers her auto attack range so well?
It's an interesting pickup. I wouldn't say it's the best that they could have gone for. You know, there's other junglers that I would have favored, you know, over the Nunu, such as Elise, such as I don't know, Kindred. I don't think was banned out in this game. So there's a lot of other picks that they could have gone for, but and Rek'Sai was still available for Nero. They didn't ban out the Rek'Sai. I guess Nero wants to play this annoying champion. Like, Nunu isn't terrible. He's going to have to play it pretty well, though, to match up to the force that is Gragas.
Well, as you said, yes, there obviously were better picks for Nunu, but I can see what they were going for on the side of Instinctive Esports with that Nunu being logged in, because it clearly does empower Caitlyn, and it can buy a lot of time in the early game. But the only problem I see is that for Instinct Esports, they don't have as much late game scaling as there are on the side of Different Dimension, which is actually good because I like it. For Different Dimension, you want to be late game scaling, but you are putting yourself into what is essentially two bad matchups and then one that is a skill matchup. So for Instinct Esports, they can make a lot of plays in the early game, and Nunu will obviously empower that with all of his invading, with him being able to pick up a Rift Herald, a Dragon, very, very fast.
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of jungle pressure will come out of this Nunu. I have to see how this Different Dimension decide to start this one off. You said that they're in unfavorable matchups, so maybe they might look for a lane swap, try and get that Ezreal into a farm lane, where he can look to just see CS up. Of course, we did see that it didn't go 100% well for Vasilog Pizza when they did force Instinct Esports into a lane swap. That could have been because Vasilog Pizza got a bit greedy and tried a turret dive more than anything, but it wasn't 100% successful. So we'll have to see if Different Dimension, do try and force that one out, try and get Ez into a favorable matchup, try and get Maokai into a favorable matchup, and try and get those two champions through the early game.
Yeah, you can always lane swap, and if you are able to lane swap, then that would be so good for different dimensions. So I obviously see what you're saying. You should look for lane swaps for different dimension. That would be the best option. It would, as you said, allow your Ezreal and your Maokai to get through the early game and then make a comeback later in the game. So that is definitely what we should be keeping an eye out for, because if they fall behind, then their late game plan is not really going to be there.
It's going to be an interesting match here, Benvarmeren. I'm really excited. Both these teams are playing to secure themselves a position in the Season 3 League of Legends Southeast Europe Championships. One of these teams will make it through, where they'll have the ability to play for a €2,000 first prize. I guess, just leave it at that. This, of course, is a best-of-3 final. So this first game, whilst very important, will not necessarily set in pace the result of this match, but tempo is a good thing, and I'm sure both these teams will be aching to get the first win in this series.
Yes, I am sure that they will be aching to do that as well, and we are about to head into game, so it's going to be very interesting to see if the late game scaling plan for a different dimension will work, or Instinct Esports, that actually won against different dimension last night, are able to do it again and maybe even pick up a two-win victory in this best-of-3 series.
Or likewise, you could call this the revenge story for
yes, definitely
for Instinct. So yeah, it could go either way. I know that if I lost out to a team and then got to face them in a finals the next day, then getting that victory would just be so much more sweet. You know, they say revenge is a dish best served cold, and I'm sure that that's exactly what we're going to see today. Some great skins coming out. Nunu bot, of course, for Nero, just to tilt the enemy a little bit more. With his beautiful laugh. Yeah, that's it. Also, his superb strategies. You know, we must tower dive, and that's what Instinct will be looking to do, I'm sure.
Yeah, why not? Why not go for that? And we are about to load into the game, so really it's going to be very interesting to see. And I hope we see the lane swap coming out, because Nunu in a lane swap with his Blood Boil is very, very good. And the thing is that Caitlyn, she doesn't have the largest auto attack speed in the game from the start. So if you can use that Blood Boil on her, then she will be on par with Ezreal, that obviously will be a bit faster because of his passive and of his W Essence Flux, if I am not quite mistaken. At least I think it's called that.
It is called Essence Flux indeed. Well done. But of course, Ezreal needs time to scale into the late game. Needs to pick up that glacial, the Iceborne Gauntlet, as well as the Maramuna. So you know, I'm sure that whilst Miracolo might have a more attack speed than Caitlyn at the beginning of the game, Caitlyn's going to be dishing out the damage with a headshot passive. And look at what Instinctive are doing here, stacking up in this top lane bush, waiting for a potential invade coming out of different dimension. Will LNG get caught out here? He's gonna leave the pixel brush. He's heading around the corner. Here it comes, and there's the Brom. Concussive flows. He gets stunned up. He's gonna body slam out. Flash from Diver looking for a kill. Here comes Lolaros. I don't think they can get this. The exhaust goes on to Terrence. Maybe try and force the summoner out of him as well. The Winter's Blade does miss. That's going to be Terrence leaving with only a scratch on his back. Doesn't blow his summoner. So that's Flash down for both LNG and Diverlot. And exhaust as well from Miliano. Instinctive Esports looking for a bit of a cheese strat in the early game, and in fact, it goes in favor of different dimension.
So basically, it is Instinct Esports that come out ahead. As you said, the summoner differential is better for different dimensions. So it's not that often we see that happening, and it's not often we see someone being stunned with concussive blows in the early game at level 1, and then surviving to get away. It was actually a really smart play because he leveled up his body slam first to make sure that he would survive.
Look what Different Dimension did because of that invade, or at least not invade, but strap that Instinctive Esports tried to do. It meant that Senpai and Miliano weren't able to start at Gromp, whereas Milacolo and Hungry Panda were. So that is level 2 advantage for this bot lane by Different Dimensions. They've already started off this game so much better, and Miliano doesn't have exhaust, so if a fight was to break out, it would theoretically go in favor of Different Dimension. A great start for this squad, and a strategy just not quite executed well enough by Instinctive Esports.
And now for Different Dimensions with Different Dimensions. Sorry, we didn't see a lane swap coming out, so they think that they can survive against Caitlyn and Braum, and it might as well be the point you said about Mihailo not having his his exhaust. So we're not going to be seeing that blood boil I talked about coming from Nunu in a lane swap, which I am a little bit sad about. I hate that Instinct Esports are raining on my parade.
Yeah, but the summoners are down for Sir Diverlot, and he's playing this aggressive lane against Terrans. Of course, Gragas did start in the top lane, so it means that LLNG will not actually be able to get to the top lane and set up a gank early, but that should have been changed. I think that's a misplay by LLNG. He could have looked for a level 3 gank, not done his red buff, and could have tried to put Sir Diverlot even further behind. He's already lost one of his summoners. Echo is, quite slippery, but he's not that slippery.
That is definitely true, and actually Sir Diverlot might get a stun here.
Yeah, gets the parallel convergence onto Tannerance. Going to try and trade some damage out with the Grasp of the Undying, as well as the Z Drive passive. This is where the lane becomes pretty hard for Maokai, because he's gone through his mana pool pretty much already. So Diverlot also actually has ran out of corrupting potions, so it's actually going to go fairly even. I actually think Terrance, considering that he's health bar and considering he has only just used his last potion now, kind of has a bit of an advantage now from Sir Diverlot, because Sir Diverlot wasn't able to play the lane to Echo's strengths. But it's not all over. Could see something happen later on. They're actually going to go back and teleport back into lane. He's got 400. He's got 900 gold, so he can pick himself up a ruby crystal. He's going to get the null magic Nantor as well, so building into a Spirit Visage first against this Maokai.
I am a bit surprised that Sir Diverlot didn't go. Oh, Punisher actually finally bit with a Lolero.
Yeah, it's a nice play, and actually Lolero is able to get the claw onto Punisher there, so trading damage back quite evenly. In fact, Punisher is the one who loses out, and that was a nice play by Lolaros, who has been back to base already, so it's not really hurt Lolaro's CS. He's actually up by 12 here. Now, gonna see if Lenergy can land. Does flash body slam. First blood going over to him. Gonna try and find Nero as well in his jungle. Put a bit of pressure down onto this Anunu. Warding up with that Tracker's Knife. And that is a fantastic gank by LLNG.
That was indeed a fantastic gank. Very well played by LLNG and Lolaros. And Punisher just had no time to react there. They got the first blood and they went over to LLNG, which is then able to go back, get his trackers. No, he didn't even go back. He got a Tracker's Knife, but he's now able to go against, go for the Runic Echoes, which will obviously help him try and snowball the game in his team's favor. And this is so good for Different Dimension, because they wanted to have this late game scaling team composition, and with them getting the first blood, obviously momentum is their way. They are in the driver's seat, and it couldn't be better.
Couldn't be better indeed. It's a nice little start for this Lysandra, already pushing her CS lead way above this LeBlanc, and that could be quite telling of things to come for Punisher. He likes these assassin champions, but when assassins get behind, it makes it very hard. Now, Terrence looking for an engage onto Sir Diverlot. That vengeful Maelstrom doing a lot of damage. Sir Diverlot has that Chrono Break, waiting for it to get in position to use it. Actually just going to force Terrence off this engage. And that's the power of Echo in the top lane. So much base damage. Maokai used his ultimate and everything to try and get the damage down, but just wasn't enough in the end. It's not going to matter as Lolaros is going to be able to get out of this one. Punisher doesn't quite have the damage quite yet. Just a blasting wand in his arsenal. There's the engage from Terrence. So Diverlot doesn't have any mana, and Terrence was able to dodge out of the parallel convergence, but that Sea Drive passive gives so much movement speed over to Echo, so Diverlot gonna run on out of that one. Terrence is holding his own in this lane. CS is brutally even. And if Maokai is able to exit lane with items and without giving up too many kills to Sir Diverlot, I would consider that a win.
So, as I was saying, with Echo not going for a Dark Seal, he doesn't get what empowers his kit really well, because the Corrupting Potions, the Corrupting Potion is empowered by the Dark Seal, and you also get AP of it, obviously, so that is so good for Echo to go for that. I'm a bit surprised that he's not going for it in this game, but hey, he just wants to get his item power spikes really fast.
Yeah, I guess so. You know, you sometimes take the Dark Seal when you know you're going to snowball the lane ahead, so you can convert into a Magi's. Gives you a bit of mana, extra health back from your healing pots. So, not 100% needed for the game, but yeah, it's one of those things that he's got that Spirit Visage building, the Spectre's Cowl and the Ruby Crystal. Probably build a Glacial Shroud next, and the Sheen, of course, for the Iceborne Gauntlet. Try and get a bit of damage down, but with Terrence being able to get a Spirit Visage really quickly as well, and not really any jungle pressure on this top lane, it does mean that Sir Diverlot's going to lose out on his opportunity to kill this Maokai.
Ooh, Punisher. Okay, so he doesn't get caught out now that LN and G were hanging around the mid lane. But we need to see LLNG make some more plays around the map, because he was the guy that got the first blood, and obviously that gave him a huge boost in terms of resources and gold that he was able to play around with. And you can go to the mid lane more or less. That's really the only place you can go to. Your bottom lane isn't as strong as Kalian and Braum, and he's not able to utilize his first blood. And now for Instinct Esports, they're getting the dragon, so they are just playing around the map so much better than Different Dimension at this point in the game.
Yeah, well, they're gonna get themselves a dragon. It's a nice little start for them. I do feel like Different Dimensions have a better late game scaling composition, and we'll have to see if it comes to effect. Nero now called out by LNG. The explosive chaos will lock him in place. Lolaros looking for an engage. A flash body slam should lock him up, but can Lolaros get the kill? He will. And that is the Rift Herald buff going to the grave with Nero, as Lolaros is starting to get the kills necessary on this Lysandra. And Abyssal Scepter already picked up. Might build a Rod of Ages next, but that's a really nice play by LNG to catch Nero out.
And it's good for them to get some kills as well. That is what they need for Lysandra, because Lysandra, as I said, is the early game and mid game, obviously, because until Ezreal gets his Mana Moon and an Iceborne Gauntlet, that's the point where he's going to be actually a part of this game. And before that, Lysandra are supposed to be carrying. Maokai obviously won't be dealing the damage as a carry would be. So it's so good for Lolos to get some kills, and it's nice to see LLNG finally being able to utilize that first blood a little bit with picking up a kill.
Yeah, absolutely. So, momentum currently in the favor of different dimensions. Of course, the dragon being picked up by Nero, you would expect that when you've got a Nunu on your team. But different dimensions, all they need to do is play this game slowly, get their scaling going. The Rod of Ages, possibly purchased by Lolaros next. Of course, this Ezreal in the bot lane, he's got himself a pickaxe, as well as the Sheen, so going to be building a Muramana as soon as possible. And as soon as this Ezreal gets going, that's when different dimensions can shift into the fast lane, try and pull this game to a victory. Whilst Nero has been doing a good job of heading into the enemy jungle, warding it up, getting some vision down, he's not doing as much as LNG, who's made his way to the top lane onto Sir Dive-A-Lot. The explosive casket not quite where you want it to go, but Terrans looking for a twisted advance, flashes forward to get it, knocks him back as well. The Vengeful Maelstrom will do some extra damage, and LNG gets his third kill assist, and his second kill in fact. Now Senpai has to use that heal to escape the Mystic Shot from Miracolo. And this is different dimensions, putting the pressure down. And my whole point is that I don't think that Nero on this Nunu is going to be able to do enough. He's kind of just walking around, placing wards, maybe counter-jungling every now and again, and throwing snowballs at people, but that's about it.
You are right, it exactly feels like they haven't been able to utilize Nunu the right way. They haven't been able to make any plays in the early game with Echo, LeBlanc. They haven't even been able to use the concussive blow, blood boil combo that they could have come out of from and Nunu. And we're starting to see a little bit of that revenge story that could come out from different dimensions that you were talking about.
It's going to start going that way for sure. Instinctive Esports need to make something happen, or else they're going to allow different dimensions to scale up to the point they want to be at. Looks like Lolaros isn't going to go towards that Rod of Ages, looking for possibly a Muramana. Has to be careful as the Sir Dive-A-Lot is here. That's a beautiful frozen tomb by DD Lolaros to avoid the parallel convergence. Now Sir Dive-A-Lot in a bad position as Terrans is here. He's looking for a twisted advance and he's going to find one onto Sir Dive-A-Lot. Sir Dive-A-Lot locked up LNG here to steal the kill. And now with that kill down on this top lane, and they can put some pressure onto this mid lane, LeBlanc is not in a position to defend it. No mana on her champion. And that should be the first turret of the game going over to different dimensions.
Yeah, so good for different dimension to get the first tower of the game. And basically they're playing a 5v4. Punisher taking a little bit of damage, being punished for being so close to the tower, and here comes Nero.
Just clearing out the
basically just there. Yeah, that's basically all he can do at this point.
Miliano has roamed up as well, trying to just push this different dimension squad off their turrets. But Punisher still no mana on this LeBlanc. I think he's got enough for a distort, and that's about it. And so we'll use that as well. So at this point, Instinctive are starting to bleed. It's only 4k gold, 4 different dimensions, but they've got the scaling on their side. Now with Manamune picked up this Ezreal, and Lysandra able to go back and pick up a Seeker's Arm Guard, going to build that into a Zhonya's next. It's going to give different dimensions so much more ability to start team fighting, start pushing these objectives down, and start securing the lead that they've already generated in this game.
That is definitely true, and now Maokai has his Spirit Visage, so he is in a good spot against 3 members that will be dealing ability power damage. So they can't touch him. Nunu can't do anything. LeBlanc haven't been able to use her early game playmaking potential to anything, and Echo has basically been killed 2 times and it isn't a part of this game anymore, just the same as Nero. And definitely for the next game we have to look at Nero picking up something else. As you said, Kindred were open, he could have easily gone for that.
Even Rek'Sai, he played a fantastic Rek'Sai in the previous game. Of course, his build may have been leaving something desired, but it wasn't terrible. It worked in the end. He knows how to play Rek'Sai. I just don't think Nunu has a place right now in the meta. It doesn't have the ganking potential of these AP tanks like Gragas and Elise, or he doesn't have the dueling potential of Lee Sin, Graves, and who's the other one? Kindred. He just kind of doesn't have a place right now. He's not terrible, and I'm sure we'll see some fantastic Nunus do their stuff. You know, do things like secure dragons by themselves when the rest of the team is forced into fighting across the map. But that's about it, and I'm not sure that's enough.
Well, as I was saying in the Pingerman phase, I could see the way that they wanted to play with Nunu, how they wanted to use him in a lane swap and then use that blood boil in the later stages of the game to just push down towers, empower Caitlyn. But they didn't use him in a lane swap. They didn't even have a lane swap. So basically, he just ran around, not being able to go anywhere because he had really no lane to go to. Because when he finally were able to do something, Echo were already being bullied, LeBlanc were being bullied, and Caitlyn and Braum against an Ezreal and Ajana is basically a hard engaged lane against a disengaged lane, and you're not going to be coming in there as a Nunu.
Yeah, that's true. I also think this bot lane from Instinctive Esports is kind of lost out a bit. They've got the early game of pressure that a Caitlyn and a Braum can offer. They haven't used it anywhere nearly as effective as they should have. Now this Ezreal, 184 farm, I guess 3 behind the Caitlyn, is starting to reach this point where Ezreal starts dishing out damage. He's got the mana immune. It's going to transform into a Muramana soon. He's got a Iceborne Gauntlet stacked up. He also bought coal, and it's dished out as well. And that's something that Senpai didn't build, was coal. So that's a little bit of extra gold heading over to Miracolo as well. As soon as Miracolo decides to go back, this farm lane and bot lane ceases, he's going to be able to pick up all these items. He's currently sitting on 1,500 gold, so it's not like he needs to sit around and farm anymore. He's got everything he needs, and it's going to become a bit of, speaking of dangerous, Terrence onto this Nunu, a bit of a failed explosive cat, flashes it to his safety. But this is lane in a turret now being pressured down. They've got the red buff on, so they can take it quite quickly, and they're going to. Now Sir Diverlot wanted to try and find engage, but not able to with the power of convergence. Emiliano is here as well, but has to be careful he does not overstep. Lolaro's taunting with the laugh. Now, Aegis of the Legion picked up for this Nunu. Gragas has one as well. Have to see what Ezreal picks up. There's the Iceborne Gauntlet, and he's going to sell the coal. What else can he buy with his gold? He's going to purchase nothing. No, he purchases the Rikyu of bows, so going to go for a blade next. This Ezreal is about to get scary.
He definitely is, and as you said, they have a very late game scaling team composition, and where Ezreal is going to be shining. Lissandra is also going to be bursting through everybody, and we have to keep in mind that even in the late game, Maokai is going to be a huge frontline. Not only is he going to be so huge from all the items, but in the last patch, his base and growth of his magic resistance were buffed. So against a team with 3 AP dealers, he's going to be very, very strong.
I think Sir Diverlot has realized it needs to be dishing out damage, but it almost feels a little bit too late. He's on Gauntlet, but has forgot to complete the Spirit Visage, kind of prioritizing damage over tanking stacks at the moment. This is a nice proactive play coming out of Instinctive Esports, but it's not enough. Now Punisher has to be careful as Lolaros is looking for an engage. Nunu is there. Punisher gets locked up in the Frozen Tomb. The cleanse wasn't enough. He gets taken out. The engage onto Miliano. They're looking to find the kill. Milikolo trying to put out the damage. A teleport coming in from Sir Diverlot. The parallel convergence goes out. They're going to turn on to LNG. he should go low. But there's the Monsoon keeping everyone alive. Terrence on the backline. Mihaliono going low. He's gonna fall. Milicono picks up the kill. Now Lolaros is in the backline, locks up all of them. This is going to be the clean ace for sure. Double kill, triple kill for Lolarolos as they clean up house, get the ace, and now they're gonna head on to these turrets. Take one, take two. Why not? You can take the map. Different Dimension are playing this game fantastically.
This game is so clean from Different Dimension. They got an ace. They're able to take up 2 towers as well. And this is sure to be a 10k gold lead. And now that they go back, they have so much gold in their pocket. They might even get another kill.
It looks like Punisher's out of there using those LeBlanc mechanics, or mechanics, as CivHD taught us, to escape that one. But the game is now... it's definitely Different Dimensions game. They're 9-0. They've got a 10k gold lead at 22 minutes. They're going to take their first dragon of the game. Have to see if Nero is able to snipe this one away with a Nunu Consume Smite. But it looks like it's just going to go down very quickly. Blue team secures the dragon. And it's Different Dimensions game to lose. They're going to pressure on in, go back, buy some items. And if you're Instinctive Esports, right now you should be trying to work out what went wrong, try and work out what you can do for the next game, because at the moment, it's not looking good for you.
No, and take a look at the gold. Everybody on the side of Different Dimension had over 1,000 gold, with 2 carries having 2,000 gold. That is a lot of gold that they could go back spend, making sure that they would be stronger in the upcoming team fight. And at this point, they are so far ahead, they can just teamfight. They can force down pretty much everything. And they should be looking at teamfighting, because in Instinct Esports, they are basically playing a 4v5, because Nunu is basically useless. And he's not made his opponent's jungler as useless as he is.
No, I agree with you there, Benvarmeren. Yeah. I've harped on about it maybe too much, but I really hate this Nunu pick, and I think that Nero needs to swap up his champion pool. He has the champions available to him. They weren't banned away. There's no reason for him to playing this Nunu. LNG has to be a bit careful, but he's pretty tanky. He's actually going to get stunned on up. Here comes Hungry Panda, though, puts a shield. Now Mirakono wants to turn this around. They're onto Miliano, and they're going to pick up a kill. Explosive Casket knocks Senpai out of the Twisted Advance, but it's not enough. Flash Body Slam from LNG, and they secure that kill as well. Now they're going on to Punisher, looking for the kill, slowing down with that Iceborne Gauntlet. Lolaro's coming around the corner with that Glacial Path and locks up Nero with a Frozen Tomb. LNG is unstoppable, 5-0-5, and this is Different Dimensions pulling the trigger. Gonna go onto this Baron now at 24 minutes. They're up by 10k gold. There's no stopping them at this point.
Just go for it. There's nobody that can stop you, or on the side of an Instinct Esports. They are that behind. Punisher should not be able to steal this. It will be a miracle if he does so, and so...
It's going over,
Ooh.
But it's not secure. That's the kills going over. Yes. 2 Different Dimensions, both Punisher and Sir Diverlot falling. And a surrender vote comes out of Instinctive Esports. 14-0, 25 minutes Instinctive Esports. FF the first game. And Different Dimension take game 1. This best of 3 series finals.
Well played by Different Dimension. They got ahead. It was basically, it was a clean game. They did not give up a kill. I don't even think they gave up a tower as well. So it was just so cleanly played by them, and they really dominated some of the lanes that they should have been able to dominate. Maokai had a good showing against Echo. You talked about a little bit about how Echo is strong against Maokai. Ezreal were able to just keep farming against Kaden, something that clearly should not happen. And Gragas totally dominated the game. And the huge problem for Instinct Esports were that Nunu basically weren't a part of the game.
Absolutely. Sir Diverlot hasn't played much Echo this season. You know, in the top lane, he favors other champions, and so This is a classic case of it's OP, it must be OP kind of thing. But Echo is a champion that requires mastery. He's such a complicated champion with mechanics that you don't see in other champions. The parallel convergence has 3 seconds to set up, and Sir Divalot wasn't really hitting them on anyone. It's something that you need to practice before you pick. I don't expect Sir Divalot to go back to this Echo. Stick to your strengths, change up what you're doing. Nero, pick a new champion and see what you can do for this next game. Guys, we'll go to a short break, but don't go anywhere because game 2 of this best of 3 final series of the Southeast Europe Championship online qualifier will be coming to your screens very soon. See you then.